Deze is hartstikke oud en test.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. What's up, guys? Man, it's been a great weekend, and we are excited to share with you guys everything that's going on in our brains about sport karate and sport martial arts and just martial arts in general. We are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour, and guys, this weekend will be the Battle of the Dojos. So make sure you guys get your tickets. Go ahead and support Virtual Fight Tour for all that they've done, not just for our show, but also sport martial arts and sport karate. So let's make sure we go and support them, guys. Also, I just got back from the beach today, so it was really nice getting a couple of days to chill and lay out in the sun and just get in the water. It was fun. Okay, I'm just going to share that. That was a lot of fun. What's up, Leandro? Yes.
You say the beach, though?
Yes, the beach, the actual beach.
We talked about this beach versus pool before, haven't we?
Yes. We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
I know.
Yeah, man. The beach, man. The beach is so much fun. Surf City. I was at Surf City.
Beach. My body just went like this, and I just started thinking about all the sand, and I'm like,
All right. So I wiped out a couple of times, right? And this in Surf
wiped
City,
out
because I like get in there, jump in the waves, and then I try to it takes me back in. I swim into the wave. Well, the thing is, in Surf City, there's just tons of shells right there, right as soon as you get into the water. So I got drugged in. I had a cut here, and so
See,
when
that stuff doesn't happen at the pool.
Yeah. So, but this is funny. When I changed right after when I got back, my swimming trunks were just full of like shells. That's how bad. Like
another thing that'll never happen at the pool.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyway, that's a little graphic, but I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. I went to celebrate my good friend Carrie Goldbeck from martial arts. She's been a great friend of mine in North Carolina, and competing, and she got married. So was a great time, and got to spend some time with Shelly, just relaxing, and then drove in today. Got in about 2:00, and straight to the school. I have not been home yet, so it's just been training and teaching and working. So it's been fun. Also, guys, big UFC news. New champ O'Malley is the new UFC champion, knocking out Aljamain Sterling. That was crazy. I don't know if you watched any of that or saw any of that, but
are you a fan of this guy?
I don't know, man. It's really weird. Like, I'm not. Huh?
That was a significant pause you had there.
So, like, I think really watching him fight, like, he's talented, but I've never really wanted to watch Ronald McDonald fight. You know what I mean? So I never dreamed of that. I never really thought, what would it look like if Ronald McDonald fought
with tattoos?
I never thought of that. Now I know. Just saying.
I mean, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But it's cool. There's a new champ. Too many people are doing the comparison to Conor, and I get the reasons why.
Right.
But
yeah,
Conor is a totally different animal. We're different.
Guys that are watching, make sure you guys sharing this in all the groups right now, sharing it on your page, and supporting the insiders. We got a action-packed show for you guys. Neither of us, unfortunately, at AmeriKick. All I've heard is great things, how professional it was.
We're still going to talk about it.
and we are going to definitely talk about it. I know one of the things that we've talked about the past year, especially in the Kappa meetings, that it's been one of the tournaments that really stepped up and did everything above and beyond. So big kudos to those guys. I feel like they're stepping up each and every year with the professionalism. I do hear, of course, it's an expensive tournament, but I think they all are nowadays. So I'm excited to get back there, hopefully next year, to see how it's going. But this year, man, even more European flavor, I feel like, was at Atlantic City. And that was really cool to see Corelli there, see Sandro there, right? See a lot of these guys there. Who were you most surprised to see or hear that was at the event?
I think Corrali, that threw me. I mean, there's parts where it's like, okay, I get it, but then there's other parts where I'm like, all right. I mean, I get after the fact that he was there, but then it's like, I didn't see it coming. What's Troy saying?
Yeah. He's just being a mean friend. I'm way cooler than him. Plus, I beat him. Yeah, plus, I beat him in fantasy football, and you don't. So
we got no. Have you won the Inside Scoop Fantasy Football League every year?
Yeah, 2 years in a row.
And it doesn't really bode well that I'm sitting here wearing.
Who's my easiest? You know who my easiest opponent is?
Shut up.
You. It actually comes up on the stats, right? It says that your easiest opponent is Alex. My hardest opponent is Jackson. So kind of interesting, right? My podcast partner, and then
Jackson
the other guy
calculated, and I take way too many risks.
All right, we were going to get back on Atari, but we're having a lot of fun. This is going to be a fun episode, guys. Let us know some of the things you want to talk about from this weekend that were standing out to you. So European flavor, yeah. Corelli, seeing Christian there as a coach was really cool, right? But to me, I didn't know until later on that Sandro was there. And that dude is someone who really stands out to me. Like he's amazing to watch. He's a lot of fun. And to see, I need to go back and watch the team fights because that intrigues me, that combination of him, Oscar, Garcia, and Christian. That's a cool mix, right? Yeah. That we don't get to see. So that was something really cool. And so they ended up coming away with the win, I believe.
With the team win, yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Ant? So.
Oh, look at this. We got stars on the show now.
Right. So what did you what was the biggest takeaway for you besides the obvious that I'm sure we will touch on, but what was the biggest takeaway?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the heavy hitters. Yep. I think, and forgive me because I'm forgetting his name, the Hungarian fighter who won his division. What was his name again? Exactly. Listen, you know what? We're gonna keep it going. You're gonna figure it out. I was not surprised at how quick he was able to adjust from movement to movement. That's what I expected. Right. I expected how quickly he'd be able to, go from when you step in, like when you're trying to gauge distance and you jump in and you realize this is not good. How quickly can you get out before you get scored on? He did a very good job. Demetrius.
Economo. Now, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but yeah. Demetrius,
D.
He had a great weekend. Definitely had a great weekend winning.
REC, that's what we'll call him.
Yeah, winning the heavyweight side and winning the heavyweight side of the Grand Championships.
Finding himself in the last man standing.
And found himself last man standing against Bailey. So awesome job.
Well, here's what did surprise me though.
Okay.
His kicking ability, right? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And it's not like I'm not saying that in the sense that I think he's as good as Justice Floyd. I'm not going to say something like that, right? Or as Zach Winder or anything like that. He's not that good, but I think his skill was good. He was very how quickly he was able to kick. All right. And what I mean by that is from foot on floor to extension. like how quickly he's able to do one, then the other, and then high chamber back up. His chamber wasn't like extremely high. It was no like Tyson Ray high, right? But it was high enough to stop someone from wanting to like step in on it. And I was like, okay, not what I would have expected to you to do. So this is kind of fun. And it's usually fun when you see something like that that's quick and unexpected. And that was fun for me. I got to watch that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. One of the things, so he came away with a big win. You're also seeing Mason Bumba move up to adult. So his first adult and win his division, men's light middleweight. So awesome job to Mason. And then you got Charles Alexander Pelletier, Andre Espinoza being the final for the super light. You got Blake Spence over Tyson Ray in the lightweight.
Wow.
He's stepping it up. Blake Spence has had a great year. And I believe now his next thing should be the World Combat Games. So then we got Martin Ballant over Tyreek. And then we had Bailey over Dwayne. And then, we already said Mason over Nico. And then Demetrius over Joseph Brackett. Brayan Rodriguez over Marco Dizon. And we'll get into the heavyweight with Avery and Cam. So, awesome. That was cool on that side, right? On the other end, the women's, man, team fighting, getting to see. So I was at Capital Classics. I'm talking to Francis Audie. His daughter is on Revolution with me. And so I'm just talking to him, and he's explained just the background and the schools and stuff that they've trained with and everything. And I'm, talking about Claire. And I was explaining my history with Claire and Sam and everybody. And I just said, I really wish Claire would come back and fight some more, because I really think she can not just win her division, but like still compete with the 18+, right? And let alone, here we go, she comes back and wins with her student women's team fight. Like, and imagine that combo, man. Claire and Lily together. Lily had a great comeback tournament at Capitals, and now, well, she had her best event. She pulled, I'm going to start calling it a Bailey, because he does it every tournament, where she won the open weight, she won the teams, and she won the overall grand. So congrats to Elizabeth Rouillard. Huge. I mean, just amazing there. And then congrats to Claire coming back and being a part of that win. That made me smile. So
I think it made everybody smile, and I'm going to touch on Lily and where I think she's at in a moment, but I want to speak on Claire for a moment. Let's set the stage for what we're talking about when we're talking about Claire. All right. Claire and David Bassinet have 4 kids, 4 boys, right?
Right.
They have 4 kids. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I think the last time she competed in more than like 2 tournaments, what was it, like 2012 something? Maybe 13?
It might have, because she competed that year that New England did the big team fighting event with all, and we had like 13. Yeah, it was 2013. Yeah.
So that was 10 years ago.
Right.
So here's what this is. Okay. So it's not and when you just said it earlier, you said, I wish Claire would do this, and Claire could, maybe she could compete again, and she could probably, she compete for the overall. She absolutely can. All right. Not everybody can do this. Okay. It's not like, all right, I should do that too. No, there's not that many Claire Cocosas. All right.
No, there's not.
It's not just like, not everybody can do it. And it's not even like, you know what? If I really get in the gym and I do this, not everybody can do that. Right. There's a certain amount of this sport and this game, this activity, that's like, Yeah, if you just really bust your ass, apologize here for that, but if you really buckle down and you focus, yet you can be a champion. That is
Right.
true. And I believe that. Now, how long you can be a champion? No, not everybody can do that. All right. And if you look at like, and we say it all the time, he's the standard. But if you look at Raymond and you say, yeah, well, he did it for X amount of time. Yeah, but that's not real life. Right.
Right.
That's not real life. Yeah, you saw it with your own two eyes, your own two human eyes, but pretend like you're gonna see that again. All right.
Right.
And if
Right.
you do, you need to build that up. Like that's different. What you just watched was somebody who was a champion, retired, waited 10 years, and then did it again. So it's clearly that it's like, man, what's training like?
Right.
What's it, it's just like what it's like classes like when you're just like when she's teaching your class, and then all of a sudden it's like, when you had classes, Jeff, and you had an instructor at one point, he was like, Jeff, you need to do this. And then you're like, okay, yes, sir. But in the back of your mind, you're like, man, I would whoop you. Right. You can't actually say that. Right?
No, you can't say that. No.
You can't even think it.
No.
All right, let's talk about Lily.
Yes.
Because I dig Lily. I dig the Rouillards. They're great people. Here's where I really like about Lily and where she's come from, where she's at, and where I think she's going to go. So because we all saw Lily start to really win as a junior, and there are some juniors that they know, like, all right, I'm going to turn adult and I'm going to try to win. Some juniors think that their crap don't stink. That was not Lily. All right.
No.
Lily had a healthy sense of nervousness to her about each match that she was going to have to go into and who she was going to have to face, but was also excited about those matches. Right. So she had a really good, healthy balance. Right. And it's just consistently improved. All right. And I don't know. Is she one of the top women fighters in the country right now?
I think so. I would put her in there. I mean, honestly, just the two tournaments she's been at. Let's think about the last time we saw Lily. The last time we saw her before Capital Classics, she was in the final of the Irish Open, right? And then we never saw her again. So yeah, I mean, I feel like she's continuing going,
the junior open weight too.
She might have been up there, yeah. But yeah, so she's amazing. I think that she has put herself in there. If she just had
chat, Lily, did you win the junior open weight at the Irish Open? You chime in and tell us.
So yeah, I would definitely put her in there right now in that top 5. So
I mean, if you had to list, not in order. You got guys not in order. All right, calm down. Put your pistols away. If you had to list, like, all right, the top 5 women in the country, but top 5 women that aren't in Europe.
Okay, so that means like Canada, Mexico, America, pretty much, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, you'd be Morgan, Lily, Katana, Katarina, and Yamina. Those would be the 5 to me.
I would
Yamina on open weights. Huh?
I would say the same 5.
Yeah.
In whatever order you want to dice it. Look at it. Yes. She's just listing it all off. Yeah. So it's basically from 2018 on, she's just been a champion.
Yep.
Okay. Lily, hand claps to you. So you look at that. Whatever order you want to put it in, you put it in. But we're talking Morgan, Katarina, Katana, Yamina, Lily. And that's not to say that there's not other ones out there.
There's other ones that are right there. Yeah.
I mean, if you would tell me that, like, hey, you fast forward in October, Brianna Nurse is going to win the diamond ring.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Right.
Sure. Right. Okay. You'd have to convince me that Morgan Plowden wasn't there, but that's what I'm saying. That's about it, right? And I'll just say what it is. Listen, I'm going to pick more. Anytime Morgan's fighting, I'm just going to pick her, no matter who she's fighting. That's just what I'm going to do. Okay, until proven otherwise. That's what I'm going
Take
to
the
do.
easy way out. I take the easy way out. Yeah.
You would do the same thing. Don't even say you wouldn't.
I know. All right, let's
Oh.
move on to this is what I want to go to. This tournament has become Rashad's event, man. So 3 years ago, so 2021, he wins his first overall grand, and he ends up winning 3, right? 3 of them that year. Then last year he did it again. Then this year he wins 2 more. So this has become the Rashad Eugene event. So congrats to him winning the CMX Forms and CMX Weapons Grand. That is the 3rd year in a row for winning those 2 grands. So congrats to him. And then congrats to Mason Stowell for winning. I think this may be his 3rd year in a row of winning that. And then also Alec Jahanbash, man, he's been winning some traditional grands, weapons grands. So this year, I think this is his 3rd one this year. So congrats, maybe more, but congrats to those guys for winning those men's grands.
Some people just have their events,
right?
You know, whether or not they win the whole tournament there. Some people just have their events where it's like, I don't know why, but for like 3 years in a row, I just this is my best event of the year.
Right.
Right.
And then what else?
Yeah. About Mike Politi. I want to talk about that, but just for a moment, don't let me forget that I want to talk about Mike Politi.
No, I know. Let me talk about just on the women's side too, so that way.
Let's talk about that.
Of course, Haley Glass was there, so she wins the Forms Grand. All right, congrats to her. The Weapons Grand though was a rookie. This is her first year as an adult. She's only done a couple of tournaments this year. Alessandra Alania. So amazing job. She was so strong as a junior competitor from Team Amerikick. Her traditional weapons is awesome. Congrats to her. I know that was a big deal winning that overall grand. Yep. And Andrew Cabalon won the 30+ grand. Congrats to him. Kevin Kowalczyk won the 30+ grand. I don't know who won the women's side of that, but congrats to those guys as well. So, all right, what we got?
You know, the Haley thing I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
When was her rookie year? That was just like a year and a half ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
2 years ago. And this is just how crazy. Like when you have success of that amount, and you're that, when you're that dominant, like right away, like doesn't it kind of feel like she's been winning for 5 years?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. And here's what's crazy too, Alex. So on the men's side, we have four grands, right? The women's just has 2. So imagine next year when they separate it, right? And it's going to get separated. So they're going to have 4. So she'll break all the diamond records within the next 4 years if she stays with it, right?
Well, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, so it's crazy, right? But yeah,
I feel like she's amazing, but I feel like they should stop separating. But
well, you know,
I mean, your grand championship is not very grand if everybody else has the same thing. But anyway,
all right. So yeah, 30+ weapons was Melanie, 50+ was John McLaughlin for male. So congrats to everyone. And I know the senior guys, man, they work hard. I'm in those divisions as well. They are intense. They are in many ways harder in some divisions than the A team. So definitely need to get some love and respect to those guys as well. So all right.
Mike Politi.
Yes, Mike Politi.
He won. And that's what I was just hearing is that not only did he compete, look like guys looking like he's fit.
Yeah.
Like, so like he shed like tens and tens of pounds. Like it's a big deal, right? And you come out there because nobody wants to go out there and compete again and be like, oh,
yeah,
you're gonna be okay. Nobody wants that, But then here's the opposite side, because this is the weird thing about our sport, because we're athletes, but there's also like, I gotta tell you, I'd say like the last 3 years, not like the last 2 years that that was really competing. It was a struggle to
Mhm.
be at my best. It was a struggle because I didn't want to just be competing. Like if I was going to do it, I wanted to
Right.
make sure that I was doing it. So what I always dreamt about is like, you know what? I just want to not have to worry about if I just don't go to the gym, you know?
Yeah.
What if I just don't feel like it, you know? And I just kind of want to hang,
And
you
that's
know?
the big
Just to,
thing there, Andrew. Senior divisions need to start earlier so there's no conflicts. So
oh
good
yeah,
job.
absolutely. But
Good job.
just to be to feel like, you know what? I don't really feel like going, and I don't have to worry about being at a top physical performance because
Right.
I'm competing. Well, when you are around athletes that are all at that top physical performance and then you're not, oh, do they look at you so different, right? Let me
Oh,
tell
yeah.
you this. This was not last weekend. This is the weekend before. I go up to Minnesota and my homie, Joe Boone, is my homie, right? So,
I
but he was kind of a jerk.
love
So
Joe.
he was a jerk, right? So it was like we mentioned last week, it was the NK's 50th
Yeah,
anniversary. He was selling
right.
t-shirts, get a t-shirt. So I bought a t-shirt I'm probably never gonna wear, right? But you get you get the t-shirt. I mean, I'm here. It's $30 for a t-shirt. Whatever. I guess I'm paying $30 for a t-shirt.
What's up, Mike?
And Joe comes up to me and he goes, "How'd you get a t-shirt?" I'm like, "I bought a t-shirt. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Yeah, but how did you get one?" I'm like, "I don't. What are you getting at, Joe?" He's like, "But they didn't have any. They didn't have any extra larges left." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I didn't get one." He's like, "Did you get a double?" I'm like, "Shut up, Joe." Like, well, no, I got a large. And he took a step back and he looks and he eyes me up and down, and I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "You sure about that? Sure about that?" Right, right. And he's just eyeing me up and down. I told him I get a large. He's looking at me like, "Sure about that?" Like, yeah, yeah. You a jerk.
Wow,
Now knock it
what a
off.
jerk.
I know,
Oh,
right?
man. What's up,
Uh,
Aveda?
yeah. Hey,
Oh, man.
Obeda knows. Obeda knows because this guy, I tell you what, he could fight at 205 or 165 on a
Yeah, I know.
month's notice. I don't
It's
understand
crazy.
how he does it.
I don't get that either. He's like a Manny Reyes Jr. Fighting super light and super heavy in the same year. That
That's a
actually
good
happened,
point.
people.
I didn't think about that. We should have brought that up when we
Mike
had him on
BS.
the
Mike
last
BS
couple
on how
of
to
shows.
fit. How to fit.
You know what? I actually didn't put it on yet. But it's whatever. I'm wearing a large
He's
right
just
here in my
gonna hang it up.
Jeffopedia shirt.
That's right. He's just gonna hang
It's
it
all
up.
good.
What's up, Edgar?
Look
What's
at
up, buddy? Congrats.
everybody's chiming
Also,
in. Come on, guys.
yeah, congrats to Edgar on being in the Hall of Fame, getting inducted to the
Oh
Hall of
yeah.
Fame, Amerikick. So that was really cool, man. Those guys go back years, as Amerikick was an NBL tournament years and years ago. So that's how it started. So pretty
All right,
cool. All right,
Jeff.
do we want to get into
Let's
before that
time to
though,
do it.
let's
Time to do it.
again no, but hold on. Let's say it
Okay.
one more time. Bailey Murphy, congratulations. Win the open weight and the overall grand and the last man standing. You know what? Like this guy is just
He's the best.
he's becoming one of the greats of
He's
all
the best.
time, right? And so we got to give him some love on that. What was cool about this weekend too is that not only did he beat those guys that have been nipping at his heels, but he also beat guys from overseas as well. So
Uh-huh.
just we got to make sure. Sometimes we gloss over it because we expect it, right? And we're like, all right, well, let's talk about some other people besides Bailey. But dude, we gotta
Matt,
make sure that Bailey gets his love and respect for what
you
he does,
should.
even though he didn't know who Linda Dinley was, even though he
That
didn't
was
know
funny.
that was funny. All right.
That was funny. You know what I like? No. Here's what I like though. Now that we're talking about Bailey, you know what I love about Bailey is that we have had a fair amount of superstars in our sport, right? And he's
Right.
definitely one of them. I
Yes.
think, and maybe just the nature of where we are today in 2023. I think Bailey's the most accessible of all the superstars we've ever had in the sport. You know what I mean? And I don't just mean in the sense that like you can reach out to them. Sure, everybody, you can reach out to anybody. We're all on social media. We're easy to find, right? But you see, he's constantly out and around. He'll be at your school. He'll be at your school. Hit the guy up. Someone are coming your way. But it's not just that. He did forms, right?
Yeah.
The only superstar I can really think of recently that would be as accessible as Bailey would be like Jason Borelli. But we even talked about Jason Borelli. Sometimes you were like, I don't know if this guy's going to be at the next tournament, right?
Right.
With
That's true.
Bailey, you always know, right? So
that's true. Well, I mean, I feel like when Raymond was on his level, he was at every tournament, every weekend, everywhere, and he would do forms for fun, and he would do.
Mike just said it though. Mike just said it right here, and he goes, and approachable, right? And Ray was always approachable, and we're gonna, like I said, we're comparing him again, right? Because he's the standard.
Yeah, we're all competitive. Yeah, exactly.
Ray had an aura. Anybody who came to him, right? He was inviting and respectful to everyone.
Yep.
But when he walked, you walked amongst him, right?
It's true.
And Bailey is a little different in the sense that he's a man of the people. You know.
Yeah.
Everybody. He's very approachable, right?
He is. He's a great kid. It's really cool just to see the growth that he's had and just the that wave that he's on, man. You know, that run. So he's got big goals. He's just getting started, I believe, guys. It's not even So he's become the standard.
Like he called the future, though. He's right now.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, he's on this right now, but there's still a lot more to be done. So. All right.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about some heavyweight fighting. It's been a hot topic the past couple of days.
Can I start? Is it all right if I start?
You can lead all of this because
all right. Here's what we are talking about Avery Plowden and we're talking about Cameron Dawson. Okay.
Yeah.
And before I say one more thing, let it be known that I have not said one negative thing, and you would never have heard me say a negative thing about Cam or Avery ever in the past. Go back, look through it. I've only had great things to say about both of them. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, honestly, I think that's what's hard for me on anything is just Cam has been one of my biggest supporters for years. So I respect him no matter what. And Avery, ever since I met him, he always comes up and just says, like respectful as like an adult, as a senior, you know what I mean? Like, thank you for coming, sir. I mean, it's just both of those guys do that. Right. And so I have utmost respect for both of those guys.
Well, that's what I always call guys. You know, I mean, probably, what's been almost 7 years now. You know, Avery was living in Chicago, so we were training. Not all, we fairly consistent, and even before that, I mean, my name I call him Champ. He's just a champ, right? That's just what he's always been. And a couple years ago, listen, I was the one. I don't really post a lot, just posts. But I did. I was literally, after the match was done, I'm still standing in the ring that I was centering. And I'm like, I'm posting right now. And I said, Cameron Dawson is the most respectful superstar we have in the sport. Right? All right. So here it comes. So the interaction between the two of them was, it was messed up and it's saddening because it should not have ended this way. And I don't mean the way that the fight went. Fight happens. Fight's a fight.
Fighting is fighting. Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about what the end result was, and then really we're just talking about feelings, right? So let's talk about our feelings.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So the end result was they're the best. Okay. Avery wins. He's got a broken nose. Cam hits him, broken nose in the fight. Okay. Not a late shot. Nothing bad.
No.
There's a hard hit. Okay.
Right.
Now, there was, you know what? No, before I even continue, one more second. Okay. Brian Rodriguez won light heavyweight. Demetrius won middleweight.
Yeah.
And
Mason Bumba won the light.
Mason Bumba won the light middleweight. Okay. If Avery Plowden's not there, does Cameron Dawson beat all of them and be the heavyweight winner? Yeah.
I mean,
the answer is yes. Okay. The answer is yes.
Right.
If Cameron Dawson's not there, doesn't Avery Plowden beat every single one of them? And isn't he the heavyweight winner? The answer is yes. Okay.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
I don't care. If anybody wants to be upset and be like, oh, so-and-so's really good. The answer is yes. I'm sorry. Okay. So there's the fight that everyone's seen and everyone's talked about. I'm not upset at the shot. Okay. But I'm not upset at all. I'm just a little disappointed that it ended up this way. Okay. So we're setting the stage. Cam gets the first couple points, and then here comes Avery.
Yeah.
Just boom, boom, boom. Just rifling him up. Just picks him. Bang, 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 bang. All right. Yeah. And Avery's distancing. There's not a lot of people that have it better than him. Okay. And now that his kicking has improved to the level that it has, it just makes him that much more dangerous. And both of them, maybe two of the best back fists in the world,
Yeah.
Definitely the most powerful. Definitely the most powerful. I mean, it's those two and then maybe Tyson Ray. Okay. So Avery's up by a considerable margin.
I think it's 5-2 when this happens. Yeah.
So Avery blitzes, body punch. I'm not upset at Cam's strike choice because it looked like maybe he could have got there, but the spacing was off. Gets hit almost at the same time. He turns, throws a rear hand right at Avery's face. It's actually probably the only shot that could have beat him, because if he would have tried to throw a defensive body punch, he would have just totally gotten beat. So I got to give him for the strike choice to try to go high. Actually, was probably the best shot. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Well, I mean, especially when you go back, you look at it and you examine it. Definitely, right? Definitely.
It was not a better strike choice once Avery took off.
It hit right on the right spot. I don't know the power of it. I couldn't hear it. I didn't see it. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But
so he gets his nose broke.
Avery still beat him to the punch. Like, it got there first.
Yeah.
And his neck was clean as well.
So he gets his nose broke. Now, this thing has been broken 37 times. Okay. So
what number are you on? You don't know.
I have no.
I think I'm on 11. So yeah, mine's
have been at least that, maybe double. Who knows? Right. This thing's been broken so many times. Right. Sometimes it would get broken back into place.
Right.
Right. Which is like, oh man, thank you. I did that to somebody one time and they thanked me for side kicking him in the nose, which I was like, I feel really weird taking this. Thank you, but all right, this is strange. But anyway, so he gets hit, gets the nose broke, and when Cam but before they even make the call, Cam is visibly beside himself.
Right.
The call has yet to be made. And so when Cam is visibly beside himself, it was not about getting the call at that point. He wanted to stop him, right? Which you can, if he did that to me, I'm like, all right, well, I mean, we're fighting,
right? So
I respect it, right? A fighter's never going to be like, as long as it's an inbound strike, which technically that is, never going to be like, you shouldn't have done that because you're supposed to protect yourself and you just got hit, right?
Right.
But there's a different place for this, man.
Yeah.
There's karate combat for a reason. Karate combat was the way out. So and that's why when it was this is real karate. This is what real karate is supposed to be. There's karate combat.
Yeah, I thought it was like this, your karate sucks or something like that. Now, I believe that was probably geared toward the judges, right? But yeah, I think that was the comment that was said. And then, the next comment from there was where Avery, I think, apologized for using curse words back at him. So, I don't know. but you know, and you hear this or that, you know, on what exactly you said. You know, I think it was the comment was it's first point that wins, you know, or that hits, you know, something like that, right? So I don't know. Yeah. So
Listen,
exactly.
we,
Yeah, the
we
words are out of context and time. So you know.
this is the problem though, and it's not with either one of these guys. This is where history repeats itself, and yet we find ourselves in the same hamster wheel. Okay, you can go back literally 60 years ago, and the same thing was happening when Joe Louis was fighting in, I guess 55 years ago, because I think it was 68. All right. He's fighting in a tournament, and he's pissed because he felt, and at that time there was no pad you could find, no pads existed. All right. So, and he felt like, oh, you just gave it because the guy just touched me. I'm the one who rocked him. Right. And he's pissed. And so then he was really like, we need to go full contact with this thing. We need to create real full contact karate. And he was a pioneer for that.
Right.
That's why I'm like, there's an avenue for this now. Right.
Right.
And there's a definite reason why you can't just go with that. If you want to just go with, like, I don't know what the super fights were, right? It's not good looking karate, right? When you know that this is what the shots are going to be, then you fight like the old timers fought. And people have it messed up. When you go back, if you watch fights in the 70s and like the early and mid 80s, like, don't pretend like that was more skilled fighting. It was not more skilled fighting, not even closest. You go back even to the early 90s, all right? There was not more skilled fighting in the least, right? That's why so many guys would get so close. Then you do the bend down thing, hands on these, and they'd get like their front foot would like basically be almost touching each other, but they didn't take off because they knew they were about to get absolutely destroyed with contact if they did. So it became ugly karate, right?
Right. Yeah, it's not the prettiest to watch. I mean, there's a few fights.
You can't go to like, this is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be this is because it's you can't do that, because then you take away all the beautiful skill, which we're going to get into some of that stuff, because there's some lost arts in this sport, which we will get to.
Yeah, we got to get to.
So, man, I want to rant the whole time.
I think for me, the hardest part was after, actually. You know what I mean? Like, there's things like that. So what really happens is, you know, and this was brought on by a post, and you know what? I don't want to get into, because there's a lot of feelings and everything like that on different sides. But the key thing is, how are we rewarding this? Are we encouraging this? Because apparently they had said, if you don't continue, then you lose. And
I got something to say about that.
And so for me, if there's any injury like that, okay, I don't even like, oh, you need to continue. No, the score ends with what happens. Just stop that. Whatever the score is, whoever that wins. If they don't get to move on, then they don't get to move on. But, you know, like, again, how can you be winning 5-2 and then after that go on and win 10-2 and then not win because you were told you weren't medically cleared? In a contact,
well,
in
not
a sport that's
not medically cleared is one thing, but the person you beat, they don't get to go on. They got beat.
Right.
So,
but in what they're saying, what's happened several times is that, well, you can't move on, so you injured yourself. No, you didn't injure yourself. It was caused by contact, which is supposed to be a controlled fighting sport, right? Now, again, this has nothing. I'm not speaking on this on anyone's feelings, or because you chose this, you're speaking bad about Cam, or you're speaking bad about Avery. No, listen, they're out there, they're fighting, whatever. I just think that we do, and we've talked about this plenty of times, we do need to get that figured out, because it doesn't make sense as far as how it just doesn't make sense. You're going to say you're not supposed to do something, but if you do and they can't continue, then you can win. That doesn't, that's where our sport has to get some things straight. And it's just funny to me because again, we're going back to another league that people used to bash because they actually had it in place for this kind of stuff to not happen. And we're the ones that said that. And people bashed them and left them because of it. But now we're seeing the reason why that was in place anyway. You know?
So here's the thing. Here's why people want to get upset about this. And this is why I said, listen, karate combat's there for a reason. The dangerous part is if you continue to let this in, this sport will be absolutely dead. It will be forms only. Only. Because the boxing commission is going to come in. You don't have to be awarding knockouts. If they find out that there's another knockout, which there was a ton of it, other injuries this weekend as well. How about that? How about that one? Remember, there's just an omen over that. But if the boxing commission gets a whiff that there's combat martial arts sport, and there's knockouts, and they don't have anything to do with it, they'll come in. The boxing commission is the
remember
mob.
what happened in Canada? You remember what happened in Canada a few years ago where it was pretty much shut down? The sport was shut down, and I'm not talking because of COVID.
Here.
Yeah, I mean,
here.
And even in the western part of Canada, for a long time, there was no head contact allowed. For a long time. So,
let me tell you about what happened here. Let me tell you how this went down. All right. So, okay, having an intramural tournament. Boxing commission don't care. Here's how it happened. Here's how everything went down. Now we'll do my best to wrap this up quickly. So there was a tournament in the city. Tournaments in Chicago. When they're in there, I mean, talent level high. There's also a high probability of a riot. I don't mean to like an actual riot, just like ruckus happening within crowds. Okay, high probability that could happen. So that happened. So I think Scorpion was the center. And I think there's two guys fighting and they just start going. They just start late hitting. And Scorpion steps back and goes, let him fight it out. That was a bad move. So they start doing that, which totally makes sense. Scorp came from, fight it out, dap it up later. But they did not dap it up. So other people start coming in. Fight goes into like the bleachers. Tons of people are involved. Cops come. All right. So now somebody, I guess, contacts a politician or a politician finds out and goes, wait, what is this? That's it. All martial arts tournament in the state of Illinois need to be sanctioned by the boxing commission. Okay. So we're having, like I said, an intramural tournament. Okay. So to the point where you needed to have a physical within, I think it was like 2 weeks of your competition, right?
Okay.
From a doctor. Okay. You needed to, and the tournament needed to have an MD, not like a paramedic. You needed to have an MD, a doctor.
In the building.
You needed to have an ambulance there. You needed to have all this stuff. People lost money. Tons of it. Yeah. Right. And then here was the kicker. If you were 13 years old, if you were a girl, you were over 13, if you were 13 or over, you had to take a pregnancy test.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that.
You had to take a pregnancy test. Imagine this, Jeff. You're like, you got your daughter, right? She's, I don't know, she's a blue belt, purple belt, whatever. And you're like, you know what? Let's try this karate tournament thing. All right. And they're like, all right, well, your daughter's got to take a pregnancy test. I'm like, excuse me? What the F are you saying? No, she's not peeing on a stick for nobody. Get the heck out of here. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. If she's going to compete, then she has to do this. All right. Well, then not only are we not going to do that, we're not going to have anything to do with you. If you want us to do this and you're trying to tell me this is okay, what am I doing trusting my daughter with you?
Right.
Gone. That's what we're at risk for. Okay.
Right.
And it wouldn't just be a flash in the pan. I don't know how we got out of that, to be honest with you. Right.
Right.
But that's what would happen nationwide, and it would just be done. That's what and then it would be done. Then it's like, all right, the only thing we can do is just basically do karate classes and then karate combat and like full contact kickboxing, like that's all it would be. You know,
Right.
The sport would die, 100% die.
Right. Yep. Wow. All right. So
Sorry,
we
we're gonna-
touched all the big topics from the weekend, man. This is crazy. All right. So let's go real quick back and forth with a few of the lost arts of forms and fighting. And we'll kind of go back and forth. I don't even know if I have 3, 5, 10, whatever. I'm just
I've
going
got
to
a couple.
focus.
I'll
I'm just
hit
going
mine,
to
and then I
focus
bet you'll get them.
Well, let's just go back and forth. I just think we're, like,
Oh,
obviously, you want to start with yours?
I
With
will.
one of
I'll
yours?
start. Mr. Price, will you miss? Chris, don't steal my thunder. Oh, you, Mr. Price, you missed a lot, actually. All right. Oh, you stole a little bit of your thunder on that one. Okay, but here, before I get into that, yes, blocking is one, but before I even get into that, all right. So lost arts. So what I mean by a lost art is it's something that was like, all right, this is it's just something that was a massive skill level that just is gone. All right.
Yeah.
And here's one of them. And it's going to sound weird when I say it. Training by yourself.
Yeah.
Training by yourself. Okay. And that might seem like that doesn't make any sense, Alex. Okay. Here's what I mean. Sports today are so specialized, right? In basketball, kids have shooting coaches, they have dribbling coaches, all right, they have conditioning coaches. But there was a fair amount of value. I'm just using that sport as an example of just being in the gym and not having a drawn out scenario played out for you. This is your dribble pattern, and then there's your shot. Because when you do that all the time, right, then the moment it's not exactly like that, right, you're gone, right? When you train by yourself, forms you do a lot of that, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But for fighting, what is training by yourself? It's hitting the bag. All right. And
Right.
when you hit the bag, you are creating stuff in your head. All right. You're moving that bag. When it moves, you get to move. It's a brilliant, lovely. Oh man, just thinking about it makes me want to just stand in front of the bag and hit the bag right now. Right. I love it. Right. So hitting the bag was one of the greatest things. One of the best gifts my dad ever got me was he got me a heavy bag. Got it to us for Christmas. I wish he would have got a leather one and not a canvas one, because at 13, I was not ready to have my bare knuckles hit canvas. That sucked.
Yeah.
But I learned, and then maybe that's another lost art. But I would have to say, just training by yourself, right?
That's
Getting
a good
in
one.
there and just being like, this is the sport, this is the art I'm going to do, and I'm going to devote myself to it. Go ahead.
I thought that we would see more of that come with COVID, right? Because you were forced to do that, right? But then I think people got so tired of it, they're like, let me get away from that, right? So I think that was kind of interesting. So I have a lot of different ways to go with this one for mine. I'm going to kind of go with this with Ramon, because I was going to say intensity, I think, is a lost art in forms. But yeah, performing with passion, I feel like, is a lost art. What's funny to me is that intensity, the only time we really see it, but I don't think it's okay. I think there's some intensity in the traditional weapons, which is kind of funny. And and that's the one area that I'm not really a big fan of are those style of forms. But there's a lot of yelling. I think intensity is where you have to pull it from your passion, right? Like Ramon's saying, that word passion. You can see there's a difference, right? You can be intense without having to yell. All right. And I've done this so many times on the show. And for you guys not listening, there's a difference. And right now, where I'm talking to you like this, and then I go like this.
Damn, dude.
Okay. So if I am going like this, just chilling, and I can turn it on like this.
Damn, dude. I got it. I'm getting uncomfortable. Knock it off.
Like, the intensity is something that people don't have, and it's not a yes, yeah, it's not that. It's not yelling more. Okay,
Do that. Yell again.
It's from here, right? It's a passion. It's when you walk on, there's a reason why people don't want to see intros anymore, because no one has passion and intensity with it. Okay.
Yep.
But when you do an intro the right way, it sets the tone of the whole experience, right? It sets the tone for the whole, because it's an art form, right? That's what we're missing about, I got to tell everyone they need to read this book. Go and get Rick Rubin's book. It's about art and creating. Rick Rubin, if you don't know who Rick Rubin is, punch yourself. But he's the guy who created Def Jam. He's one of the best producers of all time. Go and I feel like all martial artists need to read this book, because we are artists as well. Okay. And our art is, some it's violence, some it's martial, some it's kicking, some it's, so we have to figure out how to create, right? And passion, intensity is something that's lost. When we feel like we need music to make our form better, that's when I felt like we were losing something in the sport, So
yeah.
And that's to me is that I love seeing Ben Jones and those guys choose to not do music, but still there's a level that they have to get to that I'm missing from when I was a kid and when I was an adult, and I'm still an adult, but you know what I mean, when we were first in that, right? So I just feel like that's something that's missing. Sorry, I got really passionate about that, but because the obvious thing everyone was going to think that I was going to go with first was what?
Kicking.
Yeah, we all know that. Here's the deal. Here's the deal, though. And we've talked so much about, other sports having a coach for this and coach for that. What's funny right now, I am the kicking coach for many forms competitors right now that we're trying to get kicking involved. That seems weird. Like, why do you need a kicking coach? Well, because it's a lost art, right?
Yep.
And so it's really kind of cool to see that there are some top competitors in the juniors that are kind of pushing for that. And so I think that's going to be coming out soon. All right. Go ahead on your next one and then we can finish up.
So here's my next one. And it's it's definitely a lost art, but it's kind of like there's nothing you can do about it. And it's sad to say. And it's blocking. So in fighting, blocking is conceding a point, and it sucks, right? Because number one, the guys are so fast today, so fast. I don't care who you are, all right? If Elijah Everill, and I'm saying his name because he's probably the fastest, right? If he blitzes you and you cover, pop, 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 and he hits your hands, right? And all you're doing is covering your face and you're covering your face and you're covering your side, right? And you're like, bah, right? 7 out of 5 judges are giving you that, right? Are giving him that point.
Well, a piece of your glove touched, so that counts. That's what they would say. Yep. I mean,
But here's the thing. Go back to 1994.
Oh yeah.
Let's say that happens in 1994. What is that, Jeff?
It's a block, buddy.
It's a block. It's no point. Okay.
Yeah, no point.
And who do we? And I'm not on, because I'm on both sides of this. I'm not on the judges need to fix this, right? But they kind of also do, right? I'm giving the judges a pass slightly because it's so incredibly fast today. The skill level is so good, and they're so incredibly fast that what are they supposed to do? Like, they can't see.
Right.
I feel like I'm pretty good, and I'm in it. I'm on it, and sometimes I can't see. Right. So I kind of get it, but it sucks that here we are. So if you keep putting your hands up going, I blocked it, you're just going to lose. You're just going to get stuck, and it's going to look like you suck because you're going to lose 9-1. And they're going to be like, dude, you can one, that's all you had. And what are you going to say? Oh, I blocked everything. He's like, yeah, but look, you're out in the first round. over here barking that he never touched you when you got beat by a spread, you know?
Right.
So what are we doing here? So the clash is the modern day block, which if we go back to the big conversation as to what we were having earlier, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what Cam was trying to do.
Yeah.
Trying to create a clash. All right. Avery's body punch blitz, boom, was right there. If he tried to go to the body, he would have been dead in the water. So he tries to create a clash by going up high. I give him credit for the attempt. Would have been nice, you know?
Right.
Would have been,
Right.
been a really good one. Didn't work. Okay. So blocking.
Yeah, I think the thing that has overtaken blocking is movement. You know what I mean? Like movement in
Yeah.
our sport, you know, and I think that's where
Easier to block when you're not there to block.
right. Exactly. I think that's where we've seen the ones that take it to that next level have gotten better at movement. So
what do you got?
I tell you what. Oh, this has been a fun episode. We're already over, so let's go a little bit more.
We're gonna go over a few more minutes. It's just what it's gonna be.
So we got intensity, we got kicking, obviously.
Say it. You didn't. Okay, we'll put it on there. I'm gonna say it for you. Standing kicking, guys.
Well, yeah. Well, we already said that. So, I mean,
but here's how it changes, though, and then I'm gonna shut up. Okay, it changes when you get someone like Haley Glass, and I'm not calling her out. If you get Haley Glass, who just in the middle of a pass hits an amazing part, stops, and does a 9-kick combo on one leg, and you go, "Holy crap! What?" That's when something like this changes. And it's not like, because like when Shaquan, when he would do his form and then would stop and then throw the one kick, that seemed out of place.
Yeah.
But all right, I'm sorry.
No. I know. Like I was saying, I'm working with some people on things, some awesome competitors. There's ways to do it. And that's the thing. There's a reason why I was able to last for a long time without doing much. Is because the way that I did it, now it's kind of weird because I'm almost having to go to like more of a basic style kicking to get more. I notice what's crazy. I can do 35 to 50 to 60 kicks in one combination. I literally can, right? Without putting my foot down, right? I notice sometimes I get better results if I just do 3 separate 6-kick combos than that big where I just kind of could go off, right? So it's really interesting to see how that is, right? So for me, it's always taking kicking to the next level, right? But I kind of think now people want to bring it back down and just look. I don't know. I have a rough time with it because it's weird to figure out where you want to go, right? But yeah, and I've done a 35-second kick combo in a form before, and people were like, "That form was short." I was like, "Well, I was on one leg for most of it." So, but yeah, so I'm just saying there's that whole level. There's levels to this, right? So I just finished a private lesson with a young kid who is amazing, and we just worked on just an amazing, like a 7-kick combo that I feel like it's going to stand out and just be that next thing. We'll see, right? We'll see where we put it, where we do it. Let's go from there, you know? But yeah.
Jeff, are you seeing all these comments?
Yeah.
They are gold. Gold.
Creative
jump. Can we just raffle off some of these comments that guys are coming up with? I mean, they're fantastic. Okay.
Let's do this one. Punching with a closed fist. That's huge to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's in fighting and in forms. It drives me nuts seeing some of these guys these forms with their thumbs like this, with this and that. And that's one of my big pet peeves of when some of the guys are winning these divisions and grands over other people who have proper fists, right? That drives me nuts. Ramon's hitting some good stuff. You can't block because it's called a point, so fighters have to move instead.
Well, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. Let's see.
Well, how about his last one?
Obeda, I want to see a full form kicks only from you. Yes, this one. Lost actual creative jump kicks, not just flips. Yes. And that's something that I've talked to several competitors about. Okay, what is it that's going to make you stand out? Well, how about when was the last time we saw a clean 1080 or a clean pop 720 or a clean double 720, right? Two kick 720. You know, like when's the last time we saw some things like that? But thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it.
Here's the double edge. So a 1080 is like that's crazy. Let's say somebody does a clean 1080. Okay.
Right. Either one, or a pop. I mean, pop's really hard.
Sure, yeah. Pop's extremely hard.
Yeah.
And then let's say somebody does a triple cork.
Well, there you go.
I know that's the thing. You think it's way harder doing that same spin horizontal. So then you're like, oh hell. I mean, you yourself acknowledge like shit, it's more impressive.
That's hard, but here's the deal. It's easier to make it look cleaner than it is to make a 1080 look clean. And to actually spot. You don't have, I'm not saying you don't have to spot to do a cork, but there's not a kicking element to it to where you have to actually look and spot and kick and hit the spot. Because if I do a 1080 and I swing it over here, or if I hit it over here, the risk of error is way harder on that part, right? So I have to really hit and make sure I chamber kick at the right spot to make it meaningful. So I think that's where people really misunderstand. Even a spinning hook kick to the right spot, honestly, to me is harder than some of the things that people, because there's not a spotting element to it, you know? That's another thing. Why are people looking down all the time when they step to do a jump kick? No, your target's here. Your eye should not leave your target the whole time. There's so many things that are really, you know, interesting on this, you know. Don't get mad.
Well, let's not get about like what are people doing that we don't want? Where this one's only about what are they not doing.
Well, no, right.
That last thing because that gets me to my last thing.
What? Music, right?
This one gets me to my last thing that I was going to mention. Because there's so many things. Like there's a lot of different things that we could bring up. But then the last thing I'm going to say is spin kicking. For fighting, it's spin kicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, even just in this episode alone, I've mentioned how skilled the fighters are today. Like extremely skilled. Did you see any spin kicks that landed this weekend? I watched a lot of tape. I didn't see any.
It's true.
Right? Oh, did I see one? No, that was from a different tournament. You know, I think there was a 360. I saw one. Right.
Right.
But that's the thing. I only saw one attempt. I mean, yeah, it landed, but it's like, again, let's go back. I don't know. Let's go back 20 years.
Well, yeah, but even I mean, the best was go and watch some Brady's fighting or Pedro, and they're doing spin kicks, jump spin back. I mean, tornado kicks, like combos. It's sick. It was just fun.
But here's why I don't want to bring them up, because they're probably the greatest at that, right?
Yeah.
They're probably the greatest. Yes, I know Bailey throws them, but Bailey's a different animal. All right. So, but if we look at, like I say, let's go back 20 years. In every division, you're going to see a half dozen or more. Right.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, let's not talk about just the Bradys. You could just get an average guy that you would like never even known who he was, and you'll never know who he was after this. Right.
One of my favorite spin kickers ever was in the building. He was actually the DJ for the night. Chris Millers. Chris Millers is one of my favorite spin kickers of all time. And those that seen Chris Millers back in the day at NBL, this dude would spin kick on everybody. And continuous, and point, and so fast. And he would win continuous point, musical forms, weapons, everything. So
Obeda's trashing me. Look at that.
That's so funny, Obeda. That's true.
Everybody trashes me, but that's all right. I take it. I got no problem. But It's true though. All right.
Mhm.
And it's all right. Bring you into a kicker's mentality. Okay.
Here we
You
go.
bow and you put your right side in front. Somebody else puts their right side in front also. Immediately you're like, okay, guys, we're putting our right side in front for a reason, right? Pretty much the entire world is right hand dominant, and we probably are as well. But we put our right side in front for a reason, and this is a kicking sport. And your first thing you're gonna do is probably pick your leg up, right? So that's probably what's gonna happen, right? It was funny. I mentioned that this was 05, right? Hamid, this is the Bluegrass Nationals. Hamid Feruzzi comes up to me and I'm like, yo, man, how'd your division go? And he goes, man, lost to Ryan McGriff in overtime. I got to stop losing that guy in overtime. She eventually was able to get over that hump. He goes, who do you got? We go, I got this guy right here. This is Bluegrass Nationals. He goes, oh, that guy's really good. It was BT Webb.
BT Webb, yeah.
All right. I mentioned this and I go, listen, man, forget this kid. First thing I do is 360 round kick him in the face. And he goes, dude, you can't talk like that. That guy's actually really good. And I'm like, dude, I don't care if he's really good. First thing I'm doing, I'm 360 round kicking him in the face. And he goes, why do you say that? And he goes, because I just watched him fight twice. And the first thing he did was pick his foot up. Now he does more than that, but I know that the first thing he's going to do is pick his foot up. And I'm better than him at that. Right. And I was able to do that. All right. And I did it and it won. Problem with that match is, go back and watch the fight if you want to. When you do something like that and Anthony Price is your center, he will make you feel like you are Superman and that you can do that every single time. That's a problem because I tried to do it 3 more times. Then BT ends up beating me, but whatever. BT.
Tony said there's more in the junior divisions. Tony said there's.
Yeah, but he's not wrong. I think he's absolutely right that there is more in the junior divisions, right? But you can't tell me that all of a sudden the ability and the skill stops. Here's what does stop. All right. When you stop seeing it, you stop doing it. There was a time where in our sport for fighting, where all people did was 3 moves: back fist punch, side kick. That was pretty much it.
Right.
And the reason, and you got to look at that time was probably like 2010, 11, 12. I would say something like that. 2010, 11, 12. And pretty much we just saw back fist punch, side kick. That's it. Just those 3 moves. Now, those are the 3 best moves that if you're only going to throw 3, those are the 3 that you throw. Okay.
Right.
But in those times, Ross Levine was the shit, right?
Right.
He was the best, right? And what's Ross Levine do? Back fist punch and side kick. And he's like the best at it, right? All right. Yeah. And then right around that time too, 11 and 12, here comes Johnny Tension, right? And he's only doing 2 of those, so 2 of those 3 moves, right? Yeah. So,
yeah.
And then you get the 2 best fighters in the world. Aren't you going to do what they do? I mean, they're the best, all right? And at that time, you're looking at guys like Jason Borelli and Raymond Daniels and Trevor Nash, and you're like, I can't be that. Those moves are incredible. I can do back fist punch, side kick, so I'm just going to do that because look at that. That's winning. I'm going to do that one because I can do it. Now, that's great because we did produce more skilled champions. We didn't have as much so we didn't have as many sloppy things. Guys weren't skipping up when they were going to slide because they weren't doing a bunch of those anymore, right? Guys weren't just fighting with their hand down because people were back fist punch, side kick. So you had to be buttoned up. So it did do a lot of good things for our sport, but at the same time, spin kicks were gone.
And honestly, I think that's kind of a similar thing with forms. It is actually where we're at. Yeah. Because everyone from episode 1. Let's just make sure my lines are clean, and then I'll do my round off flash, and I'll do my cart full, and I'll do my 540 to the knee, and then my jump front kick, and I'll be done. And we'll see who wins. So yeah.
But I'll give it to the kids though. The lines are cleaner than they've ever been though. As a whole, in forms.
I don't think so right now. I actually don't think so.
You think that there's been a time?
I think when we started our show, I think 4 to 6 years ago, the lines were probably cleaner.
You think the lines were cleaner than they are now?
Maybe maybe 10 years ago. But right now, no, I don't think the lines overall are cleaner. No,
Okay.
because I don't think chambers are tighter. I don't think people's are actually making actual fists anymore. And
Okay,
what's
well, I
funny
guess
to me,
I can see what you're saying.
and what's funny to me on that is that is coming from the rise of traditional classical kata. I'm pissing a lot of people off, but that is where we see the hands being like there's so much air in a lot of people's punches these days, even the top competitors. Okay. And so that's why I say that. So yeah.
And that brings me, I know we're done. We're long overdue.
Yes.
We've already touched on our
This is
3, but we could have 13 and we'd still be going. But there's one other thing that I was gonna say, which is gonna sound strange. This is for the fighters, and it is Lost Art is karate classes, taekwondo classes, doing an actual class where you bow in
Going into class. Yep.
and you do the
Continuing
full
to-
class and you bow out.
Yep.
And
People think when they get into tournaments, they don't need to do class anymore.
Yep.
Right.
And it is. It's easy. It's like taking a breath of fresh air when you're like, you mean I can just show up, do some drills on the pad, and then just go out there and just hit people? Okay, it's good. I've said this all the time. All right, all the time. It is way more difficult for any than to do an extreme form, right, than to fight. And I'm not saying they're better. I'm saying, hey, guys that do forms, put some pads on and fight. You will find out how much fun this thing is. You don't have to be perfect anymore. You don't have to be perfect. But for fighters, if you do that, and people can talk about like, what's the best cross training for martial arts? Listen, I like lifting weights. I think it's fun, right? It's what I like to do. It's not the best cross training for martial arts fighting. It's not, right? You know what the best cross training for martial arts is? Martial arts.
Yeah.
go do a damn class, right? And I'm not getting mad at people, but look at that though. When you go out there and someone looks at you and says, damn, dude, look at that hook kick, round kick on that right side. That stuff's amazing. All right, change your stance. What is that? Right? When you do a hook round on one side and you look like you're Superman, and you change your stance, you do a hook round on the other side, and it doesn't even look like you're the same person, there's a problem. Right? And that was something I always used to be able to hang my hat on. Like, listen, I may not be the best, but I'm telling you, if we were in a class right here, right now, I'm the best. You would, if you had to pick who's the best in the world, you would say it was me, right?
I love it, man. We have so many great comments, guys. It's so many great things. Andrew was saying, and this is, go and watch the Olympic kata slow motion, and you'll see what I'm talking about, because it's definitely a thing, right? And there's so many, there's no stylistic differences in traditional anymore. There's no stylistic differences in creative. I don't like saying a big blanket statement of there's always the outliers, always the ones that are trying to push that. It's like saying, like people, I get offended sometimes when no one knows how to kick anymore. No one can kick anymore while they're talking to me, right? Like it's like, excuse me, like, that would always, but I understand, because I have to make those blanket statements somehow too, and I don't mean it that way. So,
but now if somebody said like, but if somebody came up to you, Jeff, and said, man, it pisses me off, like nobody can kick anymore, but Jeff, I can't either, then you go, all right, well, I mean, at least you acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you guys so much. This was a fun one. This has been a great
What a way to kick off the week, am I right?
You're right, man. You're right.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week.